Welcome, Metaverse citizens, CryptoPunks to VI, your virtual internet experience. So we're going to talk quickly about timeline. All right. So in general, let's be very realistic. I always try to be as realistic as possible in terms of development, where we're going, where we are. And it's important to see that VI is just basically at the earliest possible stages. Like we literally just, we got, all right, in simple terms, nothing but a website. I want to be clear about that. And so the idea is now we go from nothing to having something, and that is the timeline for this particular 2022. And if you can see, basically in the first quarter, we're going to try to build a Web3 integration. So we're going to start integrating all other blockchains and the wallets, so we can start basically authenticating within the ecosystem. So that's the first part. I think this I think this is going to be critical for, the integration and just connection of the Web3, whatever. So basically, I guess in some ways we can talk about Web3 in simple terms. The Web3 is actually not that it's decentralized, it's decentralization of authentication, right? In some way, we're basically authenticating through the wallet, and your wallet ID is your login. It could be anyone, but that's basically it. So no more emails, just wallet and long string passwords, at least for the current mode of development. So that will take, it's not going to take probably a lot of time, but between the research and working on Nexus Wars and just actually having other things to do. So it's going to basically that process, because there's other things going on. And I think it's fair to, plus the, integrating liquidity pools. Did I spell that correctly? Liquidity, I think I missed the Y, T. Yeah, so, and also, and I think with the integration, I'm gonna try to see if we can just basically have an ability to register usernames. So the first spending of the VI will be through registering your usernames. I think that's kind of fair. It's integration. So in the second quarter, we're going to see how we're going to integrate Nexus Wars into VI. I think it's more like theoretical. I think at this point, depending where we are in time, because I can't really know. Well, let's say we have a huge success and we have a lot of capital coming in, then we're probably going to have a lot more stuff going on actually than the timeline, because this timeline is basically based on me alone working on it basically at a time as we go. So this is my personal timeline in some regard for the VIE project. So the second quarter is going to be kind of more transitioning me for Nexus Wars, because I kind of need to launch that site as well. So it's going to take away from time from me. And so once we launch that, it's going to pretty much similar looking as the VIE, because I was working on Nexus Wars and I just basically merged the code into the VIE and it went from there. So I need to go back to Nexus Wars. There's a lot of things to do. Crazy amount of time. Crazy. So I think recruitment and hiring, we'll see how the market is reacting to everything. So the third one is the virtual avatar. Actually, virtual avatar is sort of already kind of done, because we're using a library from another person. He wrote most of the work. So it's just us integrating into the application. So there's a lot of learning to be done. So that's what I'm saying. They kind of will be parallel. So the Nexus Wars, that's going to be the number one for Nexus Wars, is the creation of avatars, at least the coding of it, because we still have to do we still have to build the skins and basically items, so to speak, the clothing and things like that, the theme and design for every faction. So there's going to be a lot of brainstorming to do, and just like the conceptually wise, and then looking for artists and designers to start really putting that in a drawing board and how we can integrate it into the avatars. Because I really kind of want the user to, in the metaverse, is that there's a lot of remember in the particular Nexus Wars, it's all humans right now. It's the future, and there's all humans. It's basically, it was inspired a lot by the Expanse, in that sense that I realized we don't really need the aliens that much. We don't really need to have intergalactic universe to have the spatial conflicts. We really don't. Space is huge. Solar system is enormous. We don't really need to go far in a long galaxy far away, whatever, to having the futuristic experience that we all kind of want to have. So anyways, the Nexus War and the virtual avatars are the quarter third. So building that, tokenizing and distributing more tokens is the third quarter. And plus I need to write the white paper for the VIE in some ways, because I see where we are, I see where it's going, but I think in some sense, because I need more experience with Web 3.0, I think it's kind of essential for me to write the right VI white paper. I feel it, I taste it, so to speak. I know where we're going, but it's just not quite crystal clear. I know the direction, but I don't think I can write it down just yet. All right, so in the last quarter, so basically as we're developing, and we basically, so I feel like at that point, we're really gonna try to, because there will be stages. So in one of the key elements of the VI is the land space kind of thing. So what we got is, since there's no land you basically capture or buy, no, I don't think it's going to work. And so there's going to be namespace. I think it's just going to behave the same way as domain interaction. That's what I believe, because the land hugging is great, like, but it also becomes like you know, a pay to win in the virtual experience. So basically, the wealthier you are, the more real estate you're going to grab. Isn't exactly what internet is originally, and I want to stick to that. I don't think internet is about that. It's about the content creators, it's the innovation, that's what drives the space. It's not the money that drives the space of the land, and I don't think that's that really good for the VI. I'm not in agreement with that. I'm a strong believer that it should be the skill, it should be the art, it should be the talent, and teams that create the drive the land, or drive the space. So one of the things I'm gonna start desperately try to develop, or get the point where we can start really thinking about, or have a really conceptualized, or some alpha, is that it's for the creation. So the user, when he enters the VI, he has the private. So he has the private space, right? It's like a private space, not a safe space, but a private space that he has full control over. And that space can be private and also public. And that space that he can choose to show and give access to. So the public is what he's showing to the world through the VI, and that's his private space. So let's say the public space is his, can be domain name or username, whatever it may be. And the user can experience it as he experiences the VI. So not like it's almost like a land, but except in this space. So there'll be two components. First is where we have to figure out, how does the user create and manages his assets and experience within his public space, right? That's number one. It's extremely critical to develop. Yeah. Now, you're thinking, what was he doing? I'm actually trying to sneeze. So now I'm stopped. Okay, cool. See, I'm getting excited about this, thinking about this. So you got the public space, just like if you're just going to use the decentralized, they're building the assets for that square, in that 3D space, and that is their creation. So in some ways, it's the sandbox model. So we're going to have to follow the same principle, because we have to design a way for end user, basically, how can a grandma basically add assets or whatever, and put her own virtual space in that experience. And that's going to be the challenge. So I think the tackling of this at the end of the year, and trying to get the glimpse into 23, is going to be basically the most important thing. Because once we figure out how to do that, how we basically integrate the creation, and also don't forget, I did mention everything is NFT, so it's kind of like all obviously has to be all there. So if we can figure out how to add so the public interface of the user's content into virtual internet, right? So the highways of the virtual internet, so that anybody else can see while experiencing all that without the land. That is going to be the most important thing. So, and that's why that's why in some ways it's always going to be in development, but the goal is to deliver a content or some sort of a product, like anything, even the glimpse of what it's going to be into the future. I think that's going to be a huge accomplishment. If we can get that in 2023, and let's say by end of 2022, we figure out how to do this, and we've got ways to basically start building it and integrating it. I think if we get to that, that would be most incredible. Because in 2023, that means we're going to be full throttle into development, and that is going to be quick turnaround. And that means by the end of 23, we're going to be done that. And by 2024, we're going to work on the public actual VR space. So in 2024, we're going to integrate the content build with the content. So in 2024, it's going to basically, so you can see within 2 years, at the end of the 20, so by the 24, we basically should already have a beta. Yeah, I think that would make a lot of sense. 2-year development, maybe faster. I mean, it all depends on the team, right? But as me, as myself working, I can envision that. So 1 year, you build up that, the first concept of how to build, integrate the virtual space and, public. So, and then 23, you go from there. So I think that's it. If you have questions, reach out to Telegram. Thank you.